Welcome into the Phillies Fever podcast. I'm Felix Robinson. Today, on the first episode of this podcast, I'm joined by Asher Stoll, Michael Gralnick, and Jonah Castle. In our first episode, we're talking about the Phillies, who are currently in playoff position for the first time all season long, and we'll be breaking down who on this starting lineup is hot and who is not. How we doing, boys?
Well, I'm doing well, and surprisingly, so is the Phillies bullpen. They've saved a couple games recently.
Yeah, if they can get, the bullpen ERA to be lowered down, if they can be, I think something Rob Thompson's been doing is platooning the closers between Dominguez and Hand. If we can get those two guys going and actually have a closer, I think this team can really take off.
Yeah, and I don't think we've been using Knable as much because he's dog poop. He sucks. And I'm glad we're using Hand and Dominguez more. Like I've been saying it from the beginning, Dominguez is just so much better.
Well, the Phillies bullpen has changed a lot since 2020. In 2020, they had a 7.06 ERA. That's just awful. It's so bad. 34 blown saves.
Yeah, it's like the bullpen has so much turnover. They keep changing guys. I think they might have found the right mix right now, though.
Yeah. I sure hope so.
And Michael, you talked about using Knable less. I think it's like a Hector Neris situation maybe for him. Is he can be good, just not in the ninth. So if we can have him going as a good eighth inning guy, we'll be all right. All right, it's weekly recap time. Jonah, how did this week start?
Well, we started out with a pretty alright game for the Phillies, but the headline was not the Phillies. It was Nolan Arenado. He went 4 for 4 for the Cardinals. They still lost, but he did hit the cycle. It wasn't enough for them. Phillies 5, Cardinals 3. They had a comeback, the Phillies did. They were down 3 in the bottom of the 5th, and they put up 5. They managed to score 3 in the 5th inning, and in the innings following, they put 2 more runs on the scoreboard. Homers by Derek Hall. Good for him, though. 3 home runs on his first 3 hits.
And
Rhys Hoskins. Yeah. And also Rhys Hoskins in the 6th and 7th finished the game in favor of the Phillies. Falter started for the Phillies, and Alvarado got the win. Miles Michaelis started for the Cardinals, but they took him out of the game after the Phillies scored 4 runs, and the Cardinals were unable to recover after that.
The next game came on Saturday, July 12th, as this game was such a disgrace to watch if you're watching so early. In the first inning, Arenado, Gorman, Yepes, and Carlson all went yard, making it 5-0 early. The Phils tried to come back, but they couldn't. They lost 7-6 at home. Ryan Helsley got the win for the Cardinals. He pitched 2 innings with 5 strikeouts. Seranthony Dominguez got the loss, for the Phillies. He pitched an inning and got 2 strikeouts. The big headline, besides the 4 homers in the first for this game, was Schwarber went 0 for 5, which is nothing that we've ever seen this season from him. But surprisingly, it was a role reversal here. Castellanos went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 strikeouts, and Bohm went 2 for 5 runs. What was that, Jonah?
He's stepping up.
He is stepping up, like I said.
For one game, big deal. Man, Castellanos is frustrating. Well, Michael, that game that you talked about was all about bad pitching. The Phillies on July 3rd won 4-0 due to great pitching from Zach Wheeler. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. This man is incredible. I felt bad for Adam Wainwright that day because he really lost, not because he was worse, just because he wasn't Zach Wheeler. 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, just a frustrating day for Adam Wainwright. He's normally a pretty good pitcher. I'm not going to say he had a terrible day, but he didn't have a great day, and Zach Wheeler was just perfect. JT Realmuto hit a 3-run home run in the 8th. He hit his 3rd home run in 8 games after hitting just 3 home runs all of the last season, all of the season up to those last 8 games. So maybe he can get hot, but JT Realmuto's been frustrating, but he had a big home run. Good game for Rhys Hoskins. He had 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 RBI, and a home run. Castellanos had a single in the 6th. That was an RBI as well. Maybe he can get hot. Nice to see him with back-to-back decent days. And Corey Knebel closed the game. That's odd. I mean, Serenity Dominguez had pitched the game before, but he did close the game in a 1-2-3 ninth inning with 2 Ks, and it's nice to see him be actually mediocre on the mound.
Well, July 5th, the Phillies' huge win over the Nationals and a shutout, a division rival, huge. Schwarber kept his excellent play going, 2 solo homers in the first and third innings. He's on fire. Realmuto also hit a homer in the bottom of the 5th to seal the game as a W for the Phillies. You're saying it, Realmuto, he's getting hot. I completely agree. He's doing great.
Yes, sir.
The Phillies, they really got their stats up in the game. Bohm and Realmuto each had 3 RBIs, and Castellanos and Schwarber each had 2. Castellanos, he's stepping up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The defensive play by Philly was great. Castellanos and Moniak with 2 great catches in the top of the 3rd. That frustrated the Nationals a bit right there.
Has the world turned upside down?
We're
playing defense now? Whoa. Castellanos is hitting and the Phillies learned how to play defense? Maybe we're
what's
actually a
going
playoff team.
on?
I don't know. This is looking pretty good.
Sanchez looked pretty good starting for the Phillies. He allowed 2 hits and 2 walks and 2 strikeouts in 5 innings. The Phillies bullpen, as I mentioned earlier, has been on fire in the month of July. No runs allowed. Unlike the Phillies, the Nationals do have bullpen problems. Reed Garrett ended up with an 8.22 ERA.
Well, the Phillies have been good recently in the bullpen, but I don't know if you can say the Phillies have no problems. You just said, unlike the Phillies, the Nationals have problems. The Phillies are not out of the water yet. We do have a wild card spot, but our bullpen is still frustrating to see on the mound. I can't say they don't make me nervous.
I agree.
I mean, that's totally fair. I'm just optimism, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. The next game came on July 6th, where the Nats playing the Phillies yet again. Phillies could not pull this one out at home. They lost 3-2, with the Nats winning their 30th game of the season on the road. The win went to Josiah Gray. He pitched 6 innings and had 11 strikeouts. Aaron Nola took the loss. He pitched 7.2 innings and had 3 strikeouts. The save went to Tanner Rainey. He pitched 1 inning and had 2 strikeouts. Schwarber went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and a strikeout, and Castellanos went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Everyone else on the team went either 0 for 2, 0 for 3, or 0 for 4, which sucks completely.
They were just swinging at everything.
There's nothing good about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies, it's when you give up that many swings in a game, you can't score runs. That's a frustrating game to watch.
Following that, Thursday, July 7th, Philly took on Washington for closing the series. Philadelphia won 5-3. Derek Hall, 2 home runs, and the farthest one being 403 feet.
Moonshot.
That dude is really good. He's the guy we want on the Philadelphia Phillies. Jose Alvarado was pitching. He clocked in at 101 miles per hour. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, if he didn't walk 7 guys a game, I think he'd be a really good part of our bullpen. That man's got stuff, but he has no control. It's frustrating.
Yeah. The Phillies allowed 8 hits, 3 runs coming in the bottom of the 3rd for the Philadelphia Phillies. And Sir Anthony Dominguez came in and saved the game for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yes, sir. Put him in the closer spot.
Yeah.
Well, the most recent game happened yesterday. Was a Phillies another shutout win by the Phillies. 2-0 in this one. An important win in the wild card race for the Phillies. Obviously, they were playing the Cardinals, a team that's 1 game behind in the wild card. It's a really close race. If they can keep playing well against these wild card teams, they're going to be in a great position. Alec Bohm, 2 solo homers. The only points of the game. Let's see Alec Bohm hit some more of those. Zach Wheeler, he's been great recently. He put up 5 hits, but 5 strikeouts in 7 innings. I don't know what happened, but after Wheeler went to the dugout, there was only 1 more hit in the game. The bullpen, I've mentioned this 3 times already, but I can't give them enough credit. And Wainwright played all 9 innings for the Cardinals. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get the win,
Complete game for
giving up
Wainwright.
5 hits and 2 runs.
Can we just talk about how
Huh?
Wainwright in the last 2 weeks has had to face Wheeler twice? Like, that sucks. Like, poor Wainwright. So, anyway,
He played 9 innings too.
a complete game, but that's tough. So anyway, as Jonas
He tried
said,
his best.
Phillies beat the Cardinals. They are in a wild card spot now. And even though it seems like their only possible route to the playoffs is the wild card spot, we still do need to remember that they are in a competitive division. Let's talk about that division a little bit. What do you got in the Nationals?
I mean, they're 30-56. They're 5th in the NL East. They're on a 2-game losing streak, which that's good for the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, they take on they're 16 games out of the wild card, so we don't really need to worry about them. The Nats are expected to be careful sellers leading up to the trade deadline, says GM. They don't really have much trade value, and they don't really want to trade unless they're getting good stuff. I mean, Juan Soto, their best player.
Yeah, there's no way they're trading him. He's still young.
No, they're not. They can't. You can't trade Juan Soto, but he's a great player. I mean, he's doing fantastic. It's just his team is not playing the way they should be. So they take on Atlanta today, and it doesn't really mean anything if they win or lose for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I mean the Nationals are kind of irrelevant at this point. Soto's their only bright spot. Another team that is becoming more and more irrelevant by the day is the Marlins, who are not playing great baseball. It was pretty neck and neck between the Phillies, but now they are 42-40. They are 4 games behind the Phillies, 4 games out of a wild card spot. Clearly, the only way into the playoffs for them is through the wild card behind St. Louis and San Francisco. They do have a few stars, such as second baseman Jazz Chisholm, who does have not when you first glance, his hitting numbers don't look great. He does have a 292 batting average, but 292 slugging, 246 batting average. But he's a really flashy guy. He's got a lot of personality. He's got blue hair. That's pretty cool. And he does have pretty good defense. But the one thing that's been surrounding the Marlins is Chisholm was subject for criticism in a team meeting because sources were saying he was like Dennis Rodman on the Bulls. He was selfish, he was flashy, and people on the outside looking in said that Jazz Chisholm seemed like a player who didn't really care about the team's wins and losses. But the manager, Don Mattingly, has recently confirmed that he is a hard worker and that they have resolved all their issues. So it seems like it's tough for a team to have a little controversy about the work ethic of their team's best star. Now, another star player for them is first baseman Garrett Cooper, who has an 841 OPS this year. He's really good. He's a little bit old, but his average is 307. So the fact that he can have an 841 OPS and a 307 batting average is really nice for the team. The reason that this team is just not a playoff team is the lack of slugging ability. Their slugging percentage is 40% less than league average. So, Garrett Cooper is their only guy who really has a decent slugging percentage, 470. But it's not a great season for them again. Rumors have been swirling that their GM, Kim Ng, says that they want to add a veteran to the starting lineup, but there's no specific player that's been targeted yet. No matter what, they're definitely not going to go to the playoffs no matter what. The biggest bright spot for this team is their best pitcher, Sandy Alcantara. He's a Philly killer if I've ever seen one. 182 ERA. He could win Cy Young. The batting average against him is 190. He is 9-3 on the season, and he has the third ERA in the league. The thing about Sandy Alcantara is he just has really incredible stuff. His ERA is some of the best in the league, but his chase rate is 88%. Is 80th percentile, which means that he's getting guys to swing and miss at his curveball outside of the strike zone so much, and his fastball velocity is at 96 overall, which is just incredible for a starting pitcher. So he's the one bright spot for this team, but nonetheless, the Marlins will remain in obscurity for yet another season.
The next team on the list for this division in second place, skipping over the Phillies, obviously, is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, they won, obviously, the World Series last year. I think no one thinks that they're winning it again this year. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. I know, hot take actually, they're finishing in third behind the Phillies.
Ooh,
But,
spicy.
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
but they
All right.
are 50 and 35 as of right now 2.5 games back from first in their last 10 games. They are 7 and 3 in
Playing good
terms of
baseball.
hitting. In terms of hitting, Dansby Swanson and Austin Riley are leading in basically everything. Batting average, home runs, literally everything. They're just being amazing right now. The Braves are first in slugging percentage and third in runs in the MLB. So maybe I should take back the fact that I just said they might not win the World Series again.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of evidence to back that up. They're playing pretty good baseball.
Yeah.
They are. They are.
Well, the team right now in first is the Mets, aka the second best team in New York. They're 52 and 32. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Braves and 7 games ahead of the Phillies. Well, for players, as many know, Alonso has been their best batter this year. He leads the team and mainly, and maybe the league, in most major hitting statistics with 22 homers, 69 RBI, and 79 hits this year. He's one of the best power hitters in the league, and someone the Phillies know they need to watch out for when they face the Mets.
Also,
Jeff
he's gonna win the home run
McNeil,
derby. So
for like what, the
Back?
80th year in a row?
yeah, this guy's crazy. He just
Jeff
slugs like
McNeil,
crazy.
he's crazy. Like, at this point, they're playing right now. He might have put up another homer. My
Yeah,
statistics might be out of date.
he just keeps hitting them.
Jeff McNeil is another good player for them. He's leading the team in average. He's not a real power hitter, only 4 homers, but very reliable. Another notable player, Francisco Lindor. He's good. He's got 14 homers, 58 RBI, hitting 240 right now, but what can you say? He's still doing pretty well. When pitching, their ace is Max Scherzer right now, unless you count DeGrom. He's injured. He's a good ace. However, their star pitcher, again, Jacob DeGrom, injured. When he returns, those Mets are going to be tough to beat. DeGrom right now is pitching in single A. Even with his lingering shoulder injury, he struck out 6 batters in 3 innings.
Oh, wow.
So, he's still good. If I'm going to share my opinion here, the Mets are not going to have this division for long. The Braves are catching up, and the Phillies only a couple games behind the Braves. This is going to turn into a 3-team race for the East.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
Also, did you see Max Scherzer while he was in the minor leagues? He bought all of his teammates AirPods, so that
Yeah, I
was
heard
pretty
about
cool.
that. He's getting paid a lot more than the guys in the minor leagues. He's
Yeah.
crazy. Their pitching staff's so good. I would say the Braves' hitting's a lot better. So I could see. I mean, there's 2 really incredible teams with a lot of star power, and a team with a lot of star power. Well, they're star power to us because we love all of them. But that's our Philadelphia Phillies. We're gonna play a game now called Hot Not or Hot/Not. We're going down the Phillies lineup: Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos, Hall, Moniak, Gregorius, Baum, Stott. No, wait, that's the wrong lineup.
Take your time.
So now we're going down the Phillies lineup and proclaiming hot or not. Schwarber, Hoskins, Castellanos, Hall, Gregorius, Baum, Stott, Vierling, and Stubbs. So first in the lineup, Kyle Schwarber. Guys, is he hot or not?
He is very hot right now. I mean, 27 home runs on the year, and we're not even at the All-Star break yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously hot. I don't know anyone who would say that he's not. I mean, he's playing amazing.
Mets fans.
What does Schwarber do in the month of June to just turn his batting skills like to an all-time high? Like, he's probably hit more than half of his homers in the past 2 months.
Well, it's crazy
sure.
because before June he wasn't even having that good of a season, and now some people, I would disagree with them, but some people say he's in contention for Silver Slugger. I think that's a little overreaction, but some people would say that. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's got a 305 average, 59 runs, 27 homers. And if you look at Juan Soto last year, keep in mind, this is like his full season stats. He also he plays the same position as Schwarber. He had a 502 at bats, 29 homers, and a 313 batting average.
Well,
Right now, not even.
Here's what I'm going to say about Schwarber. You cannot win the Silver Slugger with a batting average that's under 225. Someone who has a higher batting average and is overall more skilled has got to be Mookie Betts. And I say Mookie Betts as an outfielder. He already made the All-Star game. Schwarber didn't as a starter. Mookie Betts will be the National League outfielder one of the National League outfielder Silver Sluggers. He has a 900 OPS. Kyle Schwarber's OPS is 882. He has a 552 slugging. Schwarber's slugging is 528. He also has a 12 points higher OBP. Literally, name one stat. Okay, name two stats that Mookie Betts is better than Schwarber at.
That Mookie Betts is better than Schwarber at, or that Schwarber is.
Mookie Betts is better than Schwarber. That Schwarber's better than Mookie Betts at.
Let's see.
Home runs.
Okay, home runs. Can I explain you something? The outfielders who won Silver Slugger last year, Castellanos, Harper, Soto. None of them were top 15 in the National League in home runs. Home runs is a small portion of things, but I care about production all around. So maybe he's hitting the ball farther, but Mookie Betts hits the ball more. He has more doubles. He has more production and a way higher average. And I think Schwarber's a dark horse, but Mookie Betts has got to be the front runner right now for Silver Slugger.
That's fair.
I feel like you're looking at this as if Schwarber's going to win the batting title. We're only going for Silver Slugger here, and Schwarber hits dingers. He hits dingers.
You know what
he is the best player on the Phillies. He's the best player in the NL East. He's not the best player in the MLB. I'll give you that.
But you know what is in the name Silver Slugger? Name Silver Slugger is slugging. Who has a higher slugging? Oh, that's right. Mookie flippin' Betts. Mookie Betts has a higher slugging and a higher OPS, and his batting average is way higher. And you'll say, oh, but slugging is what matters, batting average doesn't. If you can get on base, and you're fast, and you can steal bases, and you can score, I don't care if you're hitting doubles or singles, which, by the way, Mookie Betts still has more doubles. If you're getting on base more, that's the biggest ability. And that's why, Schwarber, you got to hit above 250 if you want to be in contention for this award.
Wow.
Well, while I do agree that Mookie Betts, that's questionable, but I get it. Schwarber, I also do not agree that he is going to win the Silver Slugger award because he's third in strikeouts in the entire league. I think he's been good. Right now, he's the best player in the Phillies, of course, but he cannot win an award for the best offensive outfielder if he has the third most strikeouts in the league.
But he's clearly hitting big. I mean, he has 27 home runs.
That's true, but I'm thinking of a player, and when that player comes back from an injury, he's game changer.
The best
you all know him well.
Is durability. If you're injured, you can't win the award. You gotta play the games, and if your guy wins the games, I don't care what his name is.
Finish! You didn't let me finish. You all know him well, and if you don't watch the Phillies because it's Bryce Harper. Ooh. Bryce Harper is third in the league in OPS with 15 home runs so far.
You know what? You know who else has a high OPS? Derek Hall. You want to give Derek Hall the award? I don't think so. Why? Because he's played less than 30 games.
Derek Hall the award.
Oh!
You can't give Derek Hall the award. That's a joke.
Harper has 19 less games played than Schwarber. Right, that's manageable.
But Harper's about to miss another 40. So after he has 50 less games, 60 less games, you want to let him play, a COVID bubble length season and have better numbers than Schwarber. And then if you guys want to debate home runs, Harper's going to end with like a quarter of the home runs because he played like a quarter of the games.
Right now, according to the Phillies, Harper's on the injured list for probably 25, 30 games. I'm not going to say he's going to miss 40. He could if it doesn't go well, but...
So, when he comes back, do you expect him to be MVP Harper? Because if I hadn't played baseball for that long, and I'm used to training and playing every day, I don't think he's going to come back and suddenly be Willie Flippin' Mays. I think he's going to come back, and he's going to hit 230, and he's going to have a 790 OPS. I think it'll take him a while to get hot. Although he's a better player career-wise, he cannot win the Silver Slugger this year. We got a little off track there, guys, but number 2 in the Phillies lineup is Rhys Hoskins.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay, continue.
Schwarber has 63 more at-bats than Harper. Harper has 10 more hits. He's obviously hitting better. Schwarber's hitting farther, but offensive player is not about only hitting dingers. Harper,
Playing
when he
half-
comes back, he's going to start playing well like he has been. And he's going to win Silver Slugger.
I'm going to take you to another sport because
Okay.
clearly you don't know baseball. Clearly another sport you probably know better is football. And in football, Carson Wentz didn't win the MVP in 2017 because he didn't play the games. His numbers were great.
He
And
tore
as a
his
football fan, you
ACL.
should know that he didn't win because he didn't play the games. The best ability is availability. Now let's move on because this is a stupid argument.
Take a bow, Felix.
Okay.
Wow.
Literally stand up right now.
I got destroyed, dude.
Number two in the Phillies lineup. Number 2, someone else who has been destroying the baseball, well, depending whether you think he's good or not, is Rhys Hoskins. Is he hot or is he not?
I'll go first here. I mean, I think he's hot, but here's the thing. He's very good trade value, and if we do want to get some bullpen help, which I mean, right now it doesn't look like we need, or even if we want anything in general, I think he's the guy that we need to trade.
If we were gonna trade him, I think we might want to trade him for another infielder. We'll get to this later, but because Johan Camargo's injured and Bryson Stott forgot how to hit the baseball, we wouldn't need bullpen help. But
Yeah, I agree with you, Felix. Even if we did trade him, we would definitely need another infielder. But if we do trade him, I will be suing because Rhys Hoskins is actually my favorite player, and I do not want to see him leave the Phillies.
You hear
Yeah.
that?
people say he's a streaky guy, but I feel like he's been like you can't call it a streak if in his last 30 games he has more than a 1,000 OPS. That's not a streak. That's like just consistent good playing. So I think people need to stop ripping him and saying he's just streaky. In his last 30 games, a 664 slugging and a 318 batting average. That's not bad. So I think he's hot right now, and I think he might be able to continue to do this. All
I
right,
agree with you, Felix. He's hot, but only because he's been consistent recently. That's what we need from Hoskins. It's consistent play. I agree with you too, Michael. I hope he doesn't get traded. I like Rhys Hoskins.
Number 3 in the lineup,
I love
a guy in the lineup who could get traded. Heck, he could get traded to a single-A baseball team, and he'd probably still suck. A guy coming off of winning the Silver Slugger and is now winning the Silver Strikeout Award for most strikeouts, Nick Castellanos. Is he hot? No. Is he not? Yes. Let's talk about it.
He's very not. He is very not. I don't even need to look at stats. If you even watch 1 second of the Phillies game, oh, look, Nick Castellanos is out. Oh no, I missed the baseball and he broke his knee.
But look, whenever there's a
Bringing his
disaster,
tires in the
he shows
dirt. He sucks.
up. Whenever there's a disaster, though, he shows up, and he is a good asset to have in the outfield.
If you kill your mom, then he might hit dingers.
That's true.
He's an
He
asset.
literally hit a home run when
What is going on?
All right, look.
he hit a home
He
run
has
when
the
someone was
outfield, but I agree with Michael.
He-
He's not going to get
He
the
hit,
play.
he hit a home run when someone was apologizing for a DUI. He hit a home run when a guy was apologizing for saying a slur on air. He hit a home run when they were doing a tribute to people who had died tragically. And that's the only time he ever hits home runs. But besides that, he's not hitting at all. In the last 30 games, his OPS is like 630. So unless somebody dies, you being terrible.
Did
I
you
apologize to all
last,
the listeners out there.
last year someone was found in the stadium and then 2 minutes later Nick Castellanos hit a home run?
So, number 4 in the lineup, somebody who also hits home runs without the need of someone dying. My man B-Ball Hall, Garrett Hall. Is he hot? Is he not?
He is very hot. He is the hottest player on the Phillies right now.
Yeah, when
No.
I was looking at his baseball reference, I was trying to find, his past 30 days, and I was like, oh wait, he hasn't been playing for 30 days. But, the fact that he has 9 home runs in less than 30 games.
He's
he hits the ball.
9 runs.
Oh wait, not 9 home runs. He has 4 home runs. My bad. He has
That designated hitter.
9.
I wish he had
He has 9
home
home
runs
runs
in
and 4. He has 9 home
hits.
runs and 4 hits. No, he has 4 home runs and 9 hits. So like most of the things he hits are home runs. So he's got great pop. He's got great power. He has a 1,200 OPS. He's great. All right, number 5 in the lineup, shortstop, Didi Gregorius. Is he hot or is he not?
I feel like maybe if he was still on the Yankees, he'd be hot. But, I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
Here's here's what I see in his stats. In the last 7 games, his OPS is like 480, which is terrible. And in his last 15 games, his OPS is like 550, which is terrible. In his last 30 games, his OPS is like 730. So the more you zoom out, the better it looks. He's been really cold in the last month. He's been really cold in the last couple of weeks. But when you look at the last month, he's been fine. He's been mediocre. He was a lot better when he was with the Yankees. He's I'd say he's not hot purely because the last 7 games are bad, but overall in the season he's been okay.
I agree.
He's got the most triples on the Phillies. What are you saying?
Because no one can run. Have you seen Castellanos run? He runs like a duck.
He's like Aaron Rodgers. He's as mobile as a tree.
No, that's Ben Roethlisberger.
Or not Aaron Rodgers. Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah, I'm stupid.
He's a good guy. He's not cold, but he's not doing as well. Or he's not playing like Schwarber. So he's not hot, but he's not cold. I would say he's mediocre.
All right. Number 6 in the lineup, our third baseman who bleeping hates this place, Alec Baum.
I love him so much. I think he's not high, but he's
a mirror image of he's like the opposite of Gregorius. The more you zoom out, the worse it gets. In the last week, his OPS has been 1,100, partially because he had 2 home runs last night. But the more you zoom out, his last 30 games, he's only had a 700 OPS, which is still better than Didi's. So he's been okay.
Yeah, I describe Bohm as like lukewarm. He's not hot, but he's not. He's just good. He's a good player.
He had a mediocre month, but his last week has been crazy. His last week's actually been 1,002. Has been a 1,000 OPS because he had 2 home runs in the one game. So I think the fact that was his first 2 home run game shows that he's not a great player overall, but he did have a nice week.
Yeah, he's had a great past week, especially his last game against the Cardinals. Came up big, as I said earlier, 2 solo home runs. We need to keep that going.
Bryson Stott, the second best Bryson on the team, and the other one's injured. But even though Bryce Harper's injured, I'd say he's probably still hitting better than Bryson Stott this week because at least he's not playing. Bryson Stott should not be playing, guys. Is he hot or is he not?
Not.
Yeah.
You don't really there's not really explanation needed. Just look at the stats.
These numbers are comical. His last 7 games, his OPS looks like a batting average. His OPS is 317. That's like Bryce Harper's batting average. So he's frustrating. I wish we could call him down to the minor leagues, but the truth is we have no other good defensive infielders in the minor leagues. So until Johan Camargo gets back off the injured list, we're stuck with Stott.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next man in the lineup, number 8, my man Matt Vierling. Is he hot or is he not?
All I can say is he made a great play during today's game in which the Phillies won 2-0 over the Cardinals. Final from like about a minute ago. Let's go.
By the time you're listening to this, that'll be old news. But yeah, that happened. Matt Vierling's an 8-hitter. I feel like he should be moved up past Stott because he's hitting a lot better. As an 8-hitter, he doesn't have any slugging. His slugging is like 333, which is bad. But he's an on-base guy, and I like that he's an on-base guy. You know, his on-base percentage is up at 421 in the last 7 days, and then 375 in the last 15 games. And so Matt Vierling has been, getting on base recently, and his defensive versatility makes up for his lack of slugging for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Last man in the lineup today, JT got a day off. Stubbsy, Garrett, how's he doing? Hot or not?
I love him. I mean, he's a good player, especially when we don't have JT.
Mm-hmm.
He can do stuff at the plate. Good player.
Last 7 games.
Yeah.
Last 7 games.
I mean, yeah, he's. You want to go or do you want me to go? Okay. He's been good. If they do end up trading JT, I think he could be a good replacement.
What?
But
blasphemy! They're not trading JT. Don't never speak that again.
I don't want them to. But
if Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed. We're not trading JT. He's untouchable. What are you talking about?
And Garrett Stubbs has been very touchable in the last 7 games. with an OPS somehow worse than Bryson Stott.
Oh, dude.
His OPS is under 300, which is, really bad. And that could lead him to be called out of the minor leagues. But in the last 30 games, he's been a lot better than the last 7 games. Last 7 games, he's been mostly pinch hitting in tough spots. Last 30 games, a decent, 870 OPS. I think he should be a backup when he can get in the game, when he can play rarely. He's pretty good. In the 9 spot, I don't expect much hitting. So the fact that he can have 800 OPS overall this season is pretty good. All right, guys, we somehow we tripped and we slid, but we got our way through the Phillies starting 9. We found out who was hot or not. What predictions do we have for the next 78 games of the Phillies season?
And as I just heard, this will be very controversial, but I'm going to say it. The Phillies can. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying they can trade JT Realmuto.
That's what I'm saying, though. I don't want them to.
We have a good backup, and then one of our best prospects, Logan O'Hoppe, is ready. We can call him up whenever we need him. We don't need 3 catchers.
So here's what I'm going to disagree with you, Asher. Logan O'Hoppe needs to put up numbers in AAA before I can think he's good enough. So I think give him a little more time. JT, maybe we can trade him next year. He is climbing in age, but he's still a fine defensive catcher. I think Stubbs is not ready to be the full-time starter. I think it's kind of a gimmick with Stubbs. He hasn't played that many games, so when he plays, he's good. But just like Derek Hall, I wouldn't trust Derek Hall to be a full-time starter. It's a small sample size. We need to see more from Stubbs and O'Hoppe before we can.
I think these guys need a bit more time to grow, and I think if they can, they will, JT would be a good asset to trade. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I think Stubbs is good. He has to develop more if they even are remotely close to trading JT. But if that ends up happening, I honestly, it's not a bad take.
Yeah. My prediction, Castellanos will not finish the season with 15-plus home runs because as of right now, this is around the halfway point in the season. He is 8. He's 8 home runs. And compared to Schwarber, who is 27, it's just absolute garbage. He has not been playing well. And if it was an all-star game Nick, if it was all-star Nick when he was back on the Reds, maybe, he would definitely finish with probably even 20-plus home runs. But Phillies Castellanos sucks butt cheeks.
What it would take for
Can we give him back to the Reds?
Considering how much money we're paying him, it's ridiculous. It really is.
It's a disgrace.
We're paying him.
2 things could happen for him to get more than 20 home runs. A, he gets traded. Because, of course, whenever someone in Philadelphia gets traded, they get better. B, something very tragic happens in the Philadelphia area. If someone dies, he's going to start hitting home runs. I'm not saying I'm rude, but I'm saying that's what Castellanos does. So
there was just shooting in on July 4th, so maybe he hits, 4 dingers.
No.
Oh God.
No.
Okay, let's continue. I think
all right. Jump back to context. My prediction: the Phillies just played the Cardinals yesterday and today. They won both, 2 shutouts, 2-0 and 1-0. My prediction: this might be a little bit of wishful thinking. We win the next 2 games against the Cardinals as well.
Get out the room.
The Phillies have performed surprisingly well against good teams recently, beating Braves, Padres, and, again, the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 2 games out of the wild card right now, and we need these wins to stay in the wild card. And if we do take both of these wins against the Cardinals in the next 2 or 3 days, I don't actually know, then I think we're in an all right spot.
All right. Another thing that is finally in an all right spot is these Phillies bullpen. And, when they moved Knebel out of the closing spot, which was for good reason because Knebel was frustrating, I think a lot of people said this is frustrating because you can't win long-term without a definitive closer. And they said they'd go, with a closer by committee. So some people thought it would be Brogdon, but he's injured. Can't be Familia. He has a 1.73 whip, walks, hits, innings pitched. He just walks too many guys. We already tried Knebel. So who we need on the mound is Seranthony Dominguez. His fastball averages at 97 miles an hour, which is 95th percentile, and is up there with the likes of Josh Hader. His 33.7 K percentage is the highest of his career. 10.6% over league average. That's a great trait for the closer. But what I like about what Rob Thompson's doing, God, he's such a good manager, is that he's platooning Seranthony with Brad Hand. The fact that they can do that where you can have two different closers alternating night to night, because if Seranthony's tired, or if the batters have historically good numbers off of Seranthony Dominguez, they can throw in the more experienced guy, Brad Hand. Or if Brad Hand, who's climbing up in age, is tired, they can put Seranthony out there if he has a better matchup. Having these two reliable closers, and then even so, even if we're platooning them, it doesn't mean they can't pitch in the same night. Like, we could have Hand do the 8th and Seranthony do the 9th, and the next day Seranthony do the 8th and Hand do the 9th. Hand has good numbers, not as good as Seranthony, but 2.33 ERA, and he has a lot of experience. So I think this could be the best closing the Phillies have had since Brad Lynch, because of Rob Thompson being an absolute genius.
Mm-hmm.
Asher, you're muted.
You're muted. This has been the inaugural episode of the Phillies Fever podcast. Thank you all for listening. Signing off for Michael Grolnick, Asher Stoll, and Jonah Castle, I'm Felix Robinson, saying thanks for listening, and go Phils.